Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most compassionate, and may Allah's peace and grace be upon the most honorable messengers, Muhammad bin Abdullah, and his descendants. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon, everyone. It's very nice to meet you another time where we are, as every day, overwhelmed by the Almighty's affairs which are infinite. We will complete, inshallah, today the third part, which is part C from our lesson, which is also lesson 3, and we still have this point, which is about what is the call about. Surely it's the call of Allah Almighty. This call is what about? We will see today by referring to the third part, but first let's make a small revision. If we go to page 29, we will read from the summary which points we have achieved, which goals we had achieved till now. Allah has created us and specified the purpose in His holy book. Yes, Allah specified the purpose, which is He created us to worship Him. As we read the last session, we humans and jinns are created in order to worship Allah Almighty. And the result is we will get the benefit, not Him. Allah calls us to know, love, and approach Him, so that this is the overall result. We could get more acquainted with Him and become more closer to Him. Also, we talked about the high and loud call from everything surrounding us in this existence. We said that everything within this existence calls to Allah, guides to Him, from the very infinitesimally small things to the very huge things, planets, and every huge giant bodies like the planets, like the sun. All these things are sealed with the divine stamp of Allah. They are signs which leads us to Allah Almighty, not only to Allah's Almighty self, but also to His characteristics, to His strength, to His creativity, to His compassion. And now we will complete in the third part, which is part C, to look what will be this call about, this divine call. This is discussed in the third part. What is this call about? We will listen another time. We will read this verse. Oh, ye believe, who believe. This is a call for the believers. Give your response to Allah and His Messenger when He calleth you to that which will give you life. The first question which raised to the top Are we not alive? Are we not alive in order for Allah and the Messenger call to give us life, to survive us? We are not alive. Are we not alive? Physically, surely we are alive. If we see the physical signs like eating, drinking, and walking, these are survival signs. And there is no any doubt that we are physically alive. Also, from the medical point of view, we breathe, our heart beats, our hearts beat. So the living signs exist. But is is this only the real life? We have talked about this point in the previous sessions, and we discussed it a lot with the proof in order to say that the real life is not the animal's life, is not the bestial life, is not only the physical life. The real life is the life of our souls, the spiritual life. Yes, these are signs for the life of body, but the life of body is very small, is very tiny, and is very restricted. The real life is about leading a life of mind with conscious and spirit, or else, whoever has a sense of hearing and does not benefit from it is deaf to Allah. Yes, the main condition of the real life is to have life of mind with conscious and spirit, the life of souls, the life which will overlast. This is the real life, the life of hearts. Also, whoever has a sight and doesn't use it is a blind man. So, who doesn't listen to Allah's almighty call are deaf. And the same thing applies to anyone who never benefits from his life and doesn't turn to the lights of Allah's guidance and never listens to his words. Allah's guidance should be followed. Allah's guidance and the lights of Allah's guidance should be the guide that leads us to the real life. And a very nice verse which can enter our heart is that which is mentioned in the Al-An'am. I will read it in Arabic. I will read it, in English. Truly thou canst not cause the dead to listen, nor canst thou cause the deaf to hear the call, especially when they turn back in retreat. It's a speech for the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him and his descendants, telling him that you will not be able, you can't make those deaf, those dead people listen. And also those deaf will not hear the call. This is not talking about physical deadly persons, not talking about medically or medical deadly people. It's talking about those who have dead hearts, those who, as this is the evidence that it's talking about people who are physically alive but mentally, spiritually dead. They turn back in retreat. They don't want to listen. And as a conclusion here in this part, a spirit which has lost faith and never benefited from the divine guidance, calls of Allah, is actually dead. And what a death! Yes, to be actually dead is the worst case, is the worst case scenario. Thus, we are dead if we never answer the call of Allah, if we never answer Allah's invitation to us, if we never benefit from the lights of divine guidance. Let these words light your way. Divine guidance, Allah's invitation, call of Allah. You should listen, you should see, you should contemplate always. Every day's moment, every day's events, everything calls and signs to follow the divine way, to survive the real life. This is how we leave the darkness of ignorance and death and get into the light of knowledge and life. There is a small part remaining. How many lives are bettered by death? It's better for them to die. How many people, their cases will be better if they die, because in fact they are merely torture for those who own such lives and never feel the same, because they have turned their faces away from recalling Allah. He who leads such a life never listens to Allah's guidance verses, never feels the pain of punishment. Yes, we can listen as usual for the verse from the Holy Quran, and in Arabic, because as I have told you, it has a special impact on our heart. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of Allah Almighty, in the name of Allah the most compassionate, the most merciful. The verse was from Surah An-Nahl, the bee. It's from the bee, and we will listen.
من عمل صالحا من ذكر أو أنثى وهو مؤمن فلنحيينه حياة طيبة ولنجزينهم أجرهم بأحسن ما كانوا يعملون.
This verse is under the number. In order to know these symbols, it's the number 97. This means it's the 97th verse in Surah An-Nahl. An-Nahl in Arabic means the bee. Now we will complete in this last part before we read the conclusion that the verse we has read was, however, whoever works righteousness, man or woman, and has faith, verily to him we will give a new life, a life that is good and pure. Yes, this life is good and pure. It's the everlasting life. Allah calls us to live a good life which is so different than the bestial one. A life through which we enjoy security, safety, and which is everlasting, because then we will be overwhelmed and blessed with Allah's love and approach Him more in paradise, inshallah. He who has and owns life and death within his hand forever. I will repeat only these lines here because they contain very important signs. He who leads such a life never listens to Allah's guidance verses. And let's compare it with those who will now come here. Whoever works righteousness, man or woman, and has the faith, verily to him we will give a new life, a life that's good and pure. And as a conclusion for all what we have said in the three parts A, B, and C, today was C. Dear, oh dear, if Allah, the master of our bodies, is the one who provides us with nutrition and necessities, and He is the master of our minds, does He not deserve our listening and obedience? Surely He deserves our listening, our obedience. And another very famous verse from Surah Al-An'am, which also describes a dialogue between the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and his descendants with those who doesn't have faith. He tells them that it's not correct, it's never correct to seek for another God, for another cherisher than Allah. And he give a small picture, a small image about what will happen after we arrive to the last and everlasting life, to the life which will be forever. Let's first listen, and also in Arabic, to this ayah, to this verse. It's from Al-An'am, and it's under the number 164.
قل أغير الله أبغي ربا وهو رب كل شيء ولا تكسب كل نفس إلا عليها ولا تزر وازرة وزر أخرى ثم إلى ربكم مرجعكم فينبئكم بما كنتم فيه تختلفون.
In this verse, Almighty Allah tells the Prophet Muhammad as a recommend, as a request, say, this means the speech is for Prophet Muhammad, say, shall I seek for my cherisher other than Allah when He is the cherisher of all the things? And what I want to contemplate, to pay attention to it, that in that day, the day of the life which will overlast and never ends, every soul draws the meed of its acts on none but itself, by itself, on itself. No bearer of burdens can bear the burdens of another. Everyone is responsible to his activities, to his works. Everyone will be responsible about what he or she has done. I would like to thank you at the end and hope you will read these very appreciated lessons another time from the book which I put in the last session. Its link on the drive. I put it on the YouTube description for the session of the last time. Good luck and see you inshallah.